Okay, we'll start with Mr. Marins. They tried to change President Trump's administrative rule regarding independent workers, the Biden administration from Trump's rule. Would you prefer us to go back for the Trump rule? And can you give us just two quick anecdotes as to why it was better, why more freedom? Obviously, President Trump, a real freedom lover, why it's important to have that freedom for independent contractors?
Thank you, Congressman, for the question. So the Trump-era rule looked at two core factors for determining whether you're an independent contractor under the Fair Labor Standards Act. That's the level of control and entrepreneurial opportunity. These really are the two core factors that get at the ultimate question of whether you're in business for yourself. The other factors are probative of that question, but these two are more probative.
Yeah. And just give me a real quick example of the type of jobs people do who want the freedom.
In our industry, it's individuals who drive trucks, primarily. Yeah.
Okay.
A
lot of truck drivers are independent contractors, right?
Several 100,000 in the nation are independent contractors.
That's a lot.
Yeah, out of several million drivers. Yes.
They're free to do it, right? They're making their own choice.
They are absolutely, yes.
What are some of the benefits that people see in the freedom of being an independent contractor?
You own your own business. You set your own hours. You decide what route you're going to haul, what kind of freight you're going to haul, how often you're home, those kinds of things. You have more freedom than you would have as an individual employee driver. So it's an individual choice. It's up to the individual.
Kind of hate people who hate freedom. Dr. They gave me this one. Palagashvili. Last year, DoorDash announced a pilot program to provide portable benefits to independent workers in Pennsylvania. Georgia also has a pilot program. What are the takeaways you get from the programs?
So thank you for your question, Representative. One of the takeaways that we see from the program is that workers are using the money mostly for time off and emergency savings. That makes sense given the data that most app-based workers are full-time W-2 employees, so they don't use it to buy health insurance, contributions, and so forth. So that's actually less than 10% of expenses. 89% of the program participants said they're happy with the program. It's been very beneficial to them. And then one other thing that was quite important, because it asked a survey question specifically to these participants, and it asked if you prefer to be independent contractors with these portable benefits or be an employee with DoorDash, with the full benefits that come with being an employee, what would you prefer? 91% of the program participants said that they would want to remain independent. Again, that makes sense because 90% of Dashers only work 10 hours a week on DoorDash because they're employees elsewhere, or they have a full-time job elsewhere. So they're not treating these jobs as full-time W-2 jobs. They might have another job already. They're treating it as side gigs.
You mean there are people out there who don't want them to have this freedom, right?
I think that there is a misunderstanding about the type of workers who are on app-based work. I think there are full-time freelancers like Ms. Cavan over here who are doing it as their full-time job, but the majority of the app-based world is using it as a side gig, and that's clear. There's no murky kind of data here like there is with the misclassification kind of issues that we just heard. The data is pretty clear on this. The IRS is pretty clear on this. Most of those app-based workers are using it as side gigs. The growth that we've seen in independent work through app-based work has been from people who have full-time jobs elsewhere and who are using the app-based platforms as a way to make side income.
Do you think part of the problem is maybe some of these administrators who don't want you to use it as outside income don't understand how many people in our society do have side jobs, and as the result, they don't sympathize with people who need or who just want to work a little harder, need another 10, 12-hour-a-week thing. Do you think that's why they were moved from reality and trying to crack down on this?
I think that's a great question. I would, again, based on my understanding and my research, is that there is a misunderstanding about what is true, what the data is telling us, and then what people who want to come up with solutions think as well. So I think it would be really important for everybody involved to look at the data, look at the research, see what workers are actually doing. And again, you get full-time workers, but the app-based world is mostly side gigs.
That's what I think. Ms. Cavan, did the Biden administration shift from the Trump-era independent contractor rule create uncertainty for businesses and independent workers? And how does that uncertainty affect the average guy's life?
Yes, sir, it did. And the problem is it creates a chilling effect where companies are afraid to work with independent contractors because they can't figure out how to do it and stay within the bounds of the regulatory language.
Okay, how does that affect, say, give me an example of the type of job somebody does who's less likely to be able to do that job because of the uncertainty?
Well, freelance writers. I mean, look at what happened. If you look at what happened in California, we don't even have to imagine. There's a person sitting right behind me, Lisa Rothstein, who's a freelance illustrator in California and got hobbled by the freelance busting law out there. We have, there's thousands of members of these groups that have come forward and said that they're having these problems. So it's not even, we don't have to imagine what's going on. The data is clear at this point. The anecdotal evidence is clear. It's all pointing in the same direction. People are getting hurt.
Okay, and it's just because philosophically, I guess you think the government just likes to pigeonhole everybody into the employee metric just because it results from more control of the government?
Well, what they seem to be doing, especially with the ABC test, is they keep trying to edit it and interpret it in ways that make it stricter and stricter and stricter so that they're actually weaponizing it against people who want to choose to be independent contractors. What the top labor attorney in New Jersey wrote about what they're trying to do with this in my state right now, he said the proposed regulation departs in a dramatic manner from virtually every other test for IC status under federal law and the laws in every state. They're editing it and monkeying with it and trying their level best to make it all impossible for us to be able to function.